Hi, Teri here from Stamping Magic. Welcome back to my channel. Today's project is a quick and easy card. I've used the Honeybee Home stamp set together with the coordinating Honeybee Blooms dies, and I've also used paper from the Heart and Home Designer Series paper pack. So, let's get started. These are all the measurements you need for all the elements required to create this project. So if you're interested in reproducing it, take a screenshot so you can refer to it later. This is the Honeybee Home stamp set. Today I'm using all three of the bees and the Stay Wonderful sentiment. I'm going to start by stamping on the front of my card base, and I'm using basic grey ink. My card base is also in basic grey, and this is half a standard sheet of card, scored in the middle and folded to create a portrait card. Only the side edges of this card base will be exposed, so that's where I'm going to do my stamping. I've added all three of the little bee stamps onto one block, and I'm just going to stamp them randomly down both sides. And each time I stamp, I'm just going to turn my stamp slightly so it's not all going to look the same all the way down. The sentiment will be stamped onto a scrap of basic white card, and again I'm using basic grey ink. Now when I stamp this, I'm going to stamp it towards the right hand side. The sentiment will be die cut using one of the stitched So Sweetly dies, and this is the 4th size down or the 3rd size up. So I'm just going to line it up, and as I do so I'm going to make sure the sentiment stays on the right hand side. Then I've got room to add my die cuts on the left. The die cuts were cut out using the Honeybee Blooms die set. Now within this die set you have outline dies for each of the images in the stamp set, but then you have these 3 additional dies, and those are the ones I've used. Now the larger floral one I've cut out from Pale Papaya, the smaller floral from Fresh Freesia, and the foliage die I've used on Garden Green cardstock. Now you can leave these die cuts completely as you've die cut them, or you can add a little colour, and that's what I like to do. I'm going to start with the dark Pale Papaya Stampin' Blends marker, and I'm just going to add some colour to what would be the flower heads. Now you can go over them as many times as you like, and the more times you go over it, the darker the colour will become. And this just adds a little contrast and interest for the die cut. Next I'm going to use the dark Fresh Freesia Blends marker and colour in the flowers again. So I'm not colouring in everything, I'm leaving a little bit of the original cardstock colour showing. Now we don't have Garden Green blends, so I'm using the dark Old Olive for the foliage. And this time I'm just going to draw some light lines up the length of the leaves. I've gone ahead and added some dimensionals onto the back of my little sentiment panel, and now I can glue my die cuts in place. Now when I add the glue, I'm only adding it to the centre part of the element. The ends of the foliage and the flowers will extend past the sentiment panel, so I don't want to put glue there. if you did manage to get glue where you don't want it, then if you just flip the panel over and go over the flowers with an embossing buddy, this will remove any stickiness. Now I'm going to add some tiny pieces of dimensionals onto the back of the flower that extend past the top of the sentiment panel, and this will just add a little support for them when they're on the card. It's a little bit fiddly to do it, but it's worth doing. Okay, so I have my card base here that I stamped earlier. For inside the card I have a basic white mat, and I'm going to decorate the bottom of it with a strip of pale papaya card, onto which I'm going to add a little strip of the Heart and Home Designer Series paper. Then for the front of the card I have another mat of the same paper, and I'm going to layer that on some pale papaya cardstock, just so the side edges show. I'm going to use two different embellishments to finish off my card. The first is a bumblebee trinket, and I love these, they're super cute. To attach it, I'm going to fold two glue dots in half and add them to the back of the little bumblebee. I can then position this onto the card and give it a good press down. And then finally I'm going to add one of our in colour rhinestones to the sentiment panel, and this is one of our pale papaya ones. And that's my card complete. It's very pretty but very quick and easy to create. Now here's another look at my original card. The colour I used for the layer here is Fresh Freesia. Now the other main difference in the two cards is that I've switched around the two colours I used for the floral die cuts. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Bye for now.